Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you could join us today. If you like these types of videos, please subscribe. It really helps out my channel. Like this video if you enjoyed as well. And what I'll be doing today for you guys is talking about red flags in a company, just how to tell if you are interviewing for a good company or a bad company pretty much. And so I'm going to be talking about the red flags for a company. I also plan tomorrow on doing a video on all the good qualities that a good company would have. So definitely check that out tomorrow. I'll probably be posting it around 6 or 7 tomorrow. The first one that's a huge red flag is bad reviews online. So I don't want to say that just one bad review online is going to be a huge pointer for you. But if there's multiple bad reviews, especially if they're saying the same thing, most likely those reviews are true and I would steer clear of that company completely. It's one thing if multiple people are saying different things that went on in their branch or their area, but if there's things that are going on that are happening in multiple parts of the country, just like same things over and over again, then it is probably true that the company is a scam. I specifically like to look in the area I'm going to work for because I know all different areas are different, so I'll filter it to my area and look up reviews on that specific area. And if it's all bad reviews for that area, then typically I will just cancel the interview and not move forward with the company. So the second red flag is that they offer you the job right on the spot, especially if they're offering you like 50K to 100K a year. And the reason I say that is put yourself in that employer's shoes. If you are going to be paying someone between 50K and 100K a year for a salary, are you going to take your time and make sure they're the right fit? Or are you going to just hire them right away? If they are hiring you right away and making promises for large amounts of money, this is a huge issue, and there's either an issue with people not wanting to stay at their company or they're not living up to their promise of the pay and how much it is, especially if it is a commission-based job and they're promising you loads of money and just hiring you on the spot. Most likely it is not going to be a good company to work for. So I would just make sure that you're checking your sources and stuff before you take an on-the-spot job that's promising you a lot of money, because like they say, if it's too good to be true, then it probably is. And the third thing that is a huge red flag for me is asking you to do work before you actually start the job. So obviously I'm not meaning like surveys to see if you're right for the job or like interviews and stuff like that, but asking you to do like the physical work, like setting up meetings, setting up appointments and stuff like that before you're even hired or told your compensation. This has happened to me one time. I was expected to do loads of work before I started the position. You have to think about that a little bit, because personally this happened to me for a sales job, and you have to think like they're getting all these accounts and you're not even guaranteed the job yet. All these accounts and all these people, and most likely they're your family members, all your family members' information, because obviously you don't know what type of people need the product that you're trying to sell. So you're gonna directly say, okay, like if I'm supposed to book meetings and stuff, I'll just do it with family to make it easy. And basically they're making you do that as a way to get more accounts. So I would just steer clear of that if they're making you do that type of work before you actually start. And the fourth thing to steer clear of is if they don't tell you that there's room for growth. So pretty much everyone going into a job is hoping that eventually they'll be promoted. Obviously there's exceptions, say like if you're a senior age and you're already going into that sort of position, but typically when you are applying for a job, you are hoping that in 5 years you are promoted to a different position doing a different thing. If a company thinks that there's a lot of room for growth and promotion in their company, they are going to brag about it. They are going to be so excited that there's so much room for growth, they're expanding. If a company is like just pretty much implying that you're not going to be moving up and not saying anything about growth, this is a huge red flag. It could be a very bad company for you, especially if you're trying to reach your goals and really like move up and grow within a company and they're not even telling you anything about how you can grow. That's gonna be a really, really bad sign. One is high turnover rate. So turnover rate, if anyone doesn't know, is basically the ratio of how many employees stay with the company and how many employees leave the company. And if a company has a high turnover rate, it's not good. You don't want companies saying that their employees are constantly leaving. And so if you ask a company what their turnover rate is and it's good, then they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, it's so good. Let me tell you all about it. We've only had like 2 employees quit this year. Like, it's fabulous. If it's not good, they're gonna make up some excuse about why it's not good. They'll say something like, oh, like a lot of people who, if it's an entry-level position, they'll say a lot of things like, oh, a lot of people come in and they don't realize the type of work they're gonna be doing, so they quit, so that's where most of our turnover comes. But that's not the question. The question is, what's the turnover rate? So if a company is really, really happy about their turnover rate and they feel they're doing really well, then they will tell you straight up their turnover rate because they're proud of it, they're excited. If it's great, it's great. But if a company is trying to dodge the question and just tell you why people quit and like come up with some excuse, then they're probably not a good company to work for because they're not even being straightforward from the get-go. They're trying to avoid the question. And another thing that makes for a red flag is a disorganized interview. If you're having a disorganized interview on the first day, guess what? Organized workday for the rest of your employment there. So if they can't even give you an organized interview, that's a really bad sign. I mean, if they're not even like making sure they have time blocked off and have time for you and aren't like getting up and doing things and all that, like if they're already disorganized just conducting an interview for you, then they're gonna be disorganized your entire employment there, and you don't want that. You don't want to get involved in that. So definitely keep that in mind because that is a huge problem. 7th thing that makes for a red flag is very intrusive questions. A rule of thumb for this is you are not a suspect in an investigator's office. For somebody who is inquiring about a job, the person interviewing you is inquiring about you, and you guys are just having a conversation. And they should not be like asking you very, very intrusive questions about your life and what you're doing. Like, just getting into the very personal stuff. So I would definitely steer clear of that, because if somebody's being intrusive towards you on the interview, how do you think it's gonna be when you first start working there if you get the job? It's gonna be just as bad, if not worse. So I would definitely keep that in mind when thinking about employment at a specific place. And the 8th thing, and I think this is super cool when employers do have this, but this is if they don't have this. So I love when employers are really excited about talking to you and bringing you on. I think this is super, super cool because it just shows how committed they are to you and how much they love their company and love bringing people in. So if an employer is not like that, it's really concerning because it may give off signs that they maybe don't love their job, they don't care about bringing people on, and that's not the environment you want. So definitely keep in mind that like if an employer is excited about you, it means that they're just like gonna be really, really invested in helping you grow as a person. But if they're not as excited and they're just kind of like, you know, whatever, just another face, it may be a really toxic work environment for you to be in. That concludes our video for today. I hope this showed you about some red flags. I wanted to do this because I have interviewed for companies before that seemed like a scam or there were red flags and stuff like that. So I just wanted to share with you guys what I learned from those experiences. I hope it helped you out. I'm very excited to, on the flip side, film the good things about what makes a good company tomorrow. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!